You just mentioned your drumming. I'm a drummer too, and I would like to know who your favourite drummer is.
Wow. Well, I've got a lot of favorites. I mean, I just spent a month on the road with Eric Clapton, and Steve Ferroni was playing with him, and has for a long time. Amazing drummer. I mean, being an ex-drummer and one that never could play very well, I just sort of drooled over his playing the whole time. When I was playing, actually, Keith Moon was sort of my idol. Just sort of bash him as hard as you can and have a good time. That was my motto as a drummer.
Talking of Eric, did he give you any good hints?
Not as far as music was concerned, but he played a mean game of table soccer, and I watched for quite a long time, just trying to get we call it foosball in America, with the little guys with the flippers and all that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. Well, they take a table around with them on tour, and
really,
he's the best table soccer player I've ever seen in my life.
So he beats you hands down, does he?
Well, I was scared to even play him. I'm going to wait till the next time.
Well, then you'd have practiced. Curtis, thank you. We'll come back, take some more calls in a moment. 081 200 4444. Place the call now. You have a few minutes, and then I think we'll just about have all the calls that we need this afternoon. And Curtis Stigers is our exclusive guest on Rockline this afternoon. I think it's about time we played a Curtis record in its entirety here on 1FM. You're all that matters to me. Curtis Stigers is our guest this afternoon on 1FM's Rockline, exclusively 1FM's Rockline. 4 minutes after 3, it's Neale James here till 4 o'clock. Curtis, you're a bit of an old romantic, really, aren't you? Go on.
Yeah, I have a bit of a romantic streak in me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, songs like... we was just talking about clubs when I was playing that in the clubs. The last record of the night, that was the most snoggable record in the charts at the time.
Hey, whatever works.
It certainly did, I can tell you. Let's bash on with these questions. Thank you for your calls this afternoon. Richard Cropsford is next from Lisburn. Richard, what's your question for Curtis this afternoon in the 1FM studio?
Yeah, hello there. I was just wondering what would be your ideal way of spending a day, assuming that you don't have work commitments.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty brave assumption, but... Well, my ideal day would be to get up, stumble down to the local coffee shop. I live in New York City, and get some pastrami and fried eggs, which is a sort of unique only to New York City.
Horrible.
Yeah, nasty, huh? And then, maybe listen to some music and drink quite a bit of coffee, and then play basketball. Basketball is my main vice. I'd live to play basketball. If I could just play basketball and make money, which is pretty hard for a short, slow guy like myself.
Do you follow basketball when you're over here?
I try, but it's very difficult. I was on tour this spring over here, and, I get, scores on CNN International, and that was it. It just drove me crazy because it's just, it's hard. Now, I know there's basketball over here to follow, but it's hard to find. I'm so busy, I never get to see it. So that's both the joy and the curse of my life is basketball, because I don't get to do it very much anymore.
Richard, thank you for your call this afternoon. Helen Tanzer is up next from Colville. Helen, what's your question?
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have an image, or is the Curtis Stigers we see on TV or in the magazines the real you?
I must say, I'm just trying to imagine him with a punk image at the moment. I'm just getting over that one.
Oi! Well, the image is sort of a strange word for me. I mean, I just try to, I don't even try, I just am myself. Certainly there are, when I get on a stage and perform, it's a little different than when I'm at home. I don't sing and dance around and sweat and act like a crazy man at home that much. Sometimes I do, but only after a couple of Guinness. But the image thing, I think, is a little more blown up by the press for everybody than it really is.
But it's important, though, for rock music, isn't it?
I suppose it is, yeah. Especially since MTV came around, just the way you look and the way the way you come off. Videos in particular just create an image that basically is created by filmmakers, not by a person. Quite frankly, I'm a musician first, and the music is most important to me, and the image is just, I guess however I come across on the screen, not necessarily how I try to make myself come across. I just try to be a fairly nice guy and not get in too much trouble, try not to get arrested.
Not be too wild in the world of rock.
Yeah.
Giovanna Hillary's up next. Helen, thank you for your call. Giovanna, what's your question this afternoon for Curtis?
After seeing you perform on Friday in Wolverhampton, how many months of preparation does it take for a live tour?
Well, strangely enough, we didn't do any preparation for this one. The preparation was being out on the road all summer and all spring. So basically, we came off the road the 7th of September from the Eric Clapton tour in America, and then just rested. I mean, that's the main preparation, is trying to get some sleep in between and let your voice come back. And then we just go out, and as we go, we pick up songs. You know, we'll if we want to learn a new tune, we'll just do it in sound check and throw it together. And maybe that night it doesn't sound great, but it'll evolve into being better and better.
Is it your band on tour, or is it a band that you pick up as you go around?
No, it's a steady band that I put together after I released the album, or after I made the album to support the album. They're just a bunch of great New York players, really wonderful musicians.
All right, we're squeezing in these calls, as many as we can this afternoon. Giovanna, thank you for that. Kelly Reville's next up from Folkestone. What's your question?
Hello, I'm going to see you Tuesday, but I'm just wondering how you choose your singles you're going to release from your album, and do you ever look back and think you released the wrong one?
You've been reading my diary. It's very difficult. I mean, the first one, I wonder why, was easy, because everybody wanted it. I wanted it, the producer wanted it, and
plus it's a snoggable record, of course.
And of course you can snog to it. I'm not sure what snog means. I hope it's...
Oh, good English term, the British term.
I'm sure it's good, whatever it is. But after that, it was difficult. You know, we all had different ideas, and quite frankly, I've given up choosing them, because the only one that I really pushed through and chose and put my foot down was Sleeping with the Lights On, and frankly, it was the least successful out of all of them. So I don't choose singles anymore. It's the record company's job. But luckily, Never Saw a Miracle is one of my favorite records on the album.
And I'm sure we'll get to play it at some stage between now and Paul.
Okay,
I reckon we can squeeze that in. Kelly, thank you for your call this afternoon. Listen, you've chosen some records, as well as your own records that we'll play. You've chosen some records that you'd like to hear as well. The first is Gladys Knight and the Pips. Just very quickly, why?
Well, it's one of the first songs that ever made me cry. It used to be on the radio when I was a kid, and it just broke my heart. He's going back to Georgia, and I'm going to go with him.
All right. Listen, I'll tell you what. Would you like to know what snogging is?
All right.